Hi, folks. Welcome to the Fun Size Two Nerds podcast. I am the boy. With me, as always, is my sidekick, White.
Hey.
And we just wanted to bring you a small version of the podcast with you. Quick thoughts we were already discussing. As always, like, comment, favorite, subscribe, rate, whatever YouTube's doing right now. Share it with your friends, obviously. Don't forget to click the link in the bottom of the description. Super Blizzard is a really awesome guy. His Shining Rosado song, Let's Get Hardcore, is our theme music, and it's really cool as well. Moving on.
Yes, moving on in the moving truck to moving town. We were going to do this originally, start this, about League of Legends. I mean, it's the whole reason we did the League of Legends podcast, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Just to get some of our initial thoughts out of the way. But we were going to talk about patch things, have a sort of not a round table because there's only two of us, but a back and forth discussion about League stuff. And then League did that, but with rioters, so it was better. So there's no need for that. We're going to start with something a friend of mine posted on Facebook. Will, if you're listening, how's it going, bro?
Thanks for the podcast.
Yeah. Video game character deaths that you're not over.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. Obviously, spoilers abound.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you don't want spoilers for any number of unknowable video games beforehand, stop the video now. We have your money.
Anything old or new. And, well, it's not. I mean, you get more money.
It was a joke.
If they're all the way through.
It was a joke.
And if they don't want to hear it, I don't want their money. I don't want to do that to them. Like,
wow, you take jokes super seriously.
Give me 2 pennies. I will yell video game spoilers at you.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Oh, that'd be a weird job.
You have to have really thorough pop culture knowledge.
Yeah. Like towards the end of it, you're like when you're losing steam, you're just saying really obvious shit like
it was his sled, okay?
John dies at the end of John dies at the end.
You know what? I haven't read that.
No, I haven't either.
He might not.
He might not. But anyway, for what we're talking about. Yeah. I think there's one we both share. We might as well get it out right now. Biggest video game death I'm not over. Feels every time. I cry every time. Morden Solus.
Oh God, this. I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm not in a good place about this death. All you really have to do to put me in a feels place is to play his Gilbert and Sullivan song, and then I'm there, right in that moment, in that cutscene where he's doing his little science as the building is crashing down around him. I am in so not a good place about this.
Oh man, I don't even need that much, dude. I just need, had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Don't do that.
Yeah, man, that's all. And I'm just like, no!
Oh,
the
God.
tears! Fly free from my eyes, unbidden tears.
He was such a good character, well made, he had a lot of depth, he was entertaining, and sort of heartwarming at the same time, and he was a friend to, at least to my Shepard during my Mass Effect playthrough.
Oh, same here.
Morden was one of his best friends.
I didn't usually take him out because I needed him on the ship.
Yeah, he was more useful.
From an in-game logic standpoint.
He was more useful doing research on the ship.
Yeah, but no, he was my friend. Every time I went around the ship, I talked to him.
Yeah, and so when that moment comes, you're watching your friend do this amazing thing. Because, as he says, it has to be him.
Oh, that's his excuse.
Yeah.
You know it, and that's the thing, and Shepard knows it, and then you just have to, take it.
That's the point.
Mass Effect, at the time, was a fucking thrill ride of, Mass Effect 3, was a thrill ride of murder and death. There's really that's the only one that sticks with me from that game. I lost a lot of characters in that game.
Way more than me.
Yeah. But that's the only one that really, gets me. I mean, Thane, because he was also my fucking best friend.
Yeah, Thane.
And I did take him with me in Mass Effect 2.
I'm cool with Thane.
Yeah,
Thane died Thane died calm, and he died like he wanted to die.
Yeah, he did. And, he got to be a badass.
And he got to reunite with his son and all that.
It wasn't a good death, but none can ever really be a good death, Good enough.
Yeah, and Morden went out, properly too, but I just didn't. He was at peace with it, but I wasn't. Whereas with Thane's death, I was at peace with it.
I don't think I would have been if I had romanced him. I mean, thankfully I went for Garrus, but like if I had like taken those leads, because Thane would have been a close second out of the romanceable options.
Yeah, I played male Shepard.
Yeah.
Callie Zora. Thus Normandy.
Someone else I lost, which was pretty sad at the time, but mostly I was pissed off.
No, I kept Callie. I kept Callie and Legion.
I tell you,
proud of that.
One thing that I would still be mad about is if I hadn't been able to stop the entire situation with
Green ending.
No, with I think I'm only thinking of the wrong character's name.
Well, give me the rest of the
you go to that planet and the three Asari are.
With the Arayakshi.
Yeah, I want to say Samara.
Yeah, Samara.
Okay.
No. If you couldn't have stopped that, that would not have been cool.
Oh, and this was after Morden, and then the next thing I did was, well, I mean, not literally next, but not long after that was when I went to do things for Tali and,
Oh, God, you had like a tragedy
both of them. Yeah, and then I'm on this planet, this little nothing planet, and she's like, it's suicide time, and I'm like, not today!
No more!
But that would have. But no, it's pretty much just Morden from that game.
He's the heart of that game series, at least for me.
The rest of these are going to be pretty rapid fire.
Yeah, because that was the one that we both.
Yeah, that's so strong, and you know,
in our spirits.
And that's the reason you expect a death to stick with you. That sort of sad, sort of I'm not over it mourning period. I don't really have that for most of the rest of these.
Yeah, no, for most of the rest of these, I'm not over them, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and leave one?
Alright. Mario from Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
From Super Mario Sunshine. Didn't see it coming, man!
Oh god, no, someone who's never played Sunshine would be like, what? No. Obviously he dies in Brotherhood. Cesare kills him. I'm not over that. I'm still mad about that shit, alright? I was Ezio Auditore di Firenze. You didn't need to do that to get me back in the game. I didn't need that. Just point me at a bad guy and say, go. You can destroy my villa. You can destroy the town. That's fine. You didn't have to kill Mario, man. That shit was unnecessary.
I think the next one that sticks with me emotionally is probably Shadow from Final Fantasy VI. It's another situation where it is a good death, it is a sacrifice, and it's very Japanese. You know, the character arc goes through that he is a coward, running away from everything that has ever meant anything to him. And finally, at the end, he accepts his sins and has the bravery to kill himself. Which is really old school Japanese stuff that in the West sounds like, what? You need a hotline.
Yeah, it's an incredibly Japanese.
But oh man, it tore me up. I mean, as if my little, 10-year-old mind wasn't already blowing at the half-hour ending to Final Fantasy VI. That part was just... I mean, he was one of my favorite characters anyway, so... But back to you.
I had some trouble thinking of other deaths that I was really still not over for whatever reason. And you mentioned one that I think is on your list too. It's another one we share, but I'm not over it for different reasons than I think you are. So I think
this is a complicated one.
Is Hawk's mother from Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
I'm not over that. That shit was a tragedy, and it was a preventable tragedy.
So much shit in Dragon Age 2 was preventable.
Preventable tragedy is pretty much the tagline for Dragon Age 2.
It's not even necessarily tragedy, just preventable. We could have fucking put a condom on all of this, and none of this shit would have happened.
But they play it so well because when she died, at least in my game, it became very clear that she was sad and lonely and heartbroken before this new suitor came into her life. And so much of that could have been prevented if Hawk had spent more time with her. And that shit resonates with me. But I'm largely over the character's death itself. It was just so well played that it does stick with me a little bit. I think you have it on your list for different reasons.
Yeah, no, for burning fucking rage. The character I was playing, Hudson, was, he his mom wasn't really, I mean, she was kind of sad, but in a doddering old woman who needs a hobby kind of way. But, mostly she was okay with her life. She needed to do something, and the suitor seemed like a good idea. Except that it obviously wasn't, and my rage behind the controller was, "No, don't do this! This isn't gonna go well!" And it didn't, and my Hawk had so many bad experiences with mages throughout the game anyway. This was the galvanizing moment that made me, and I drew this up, want to get a golem, and cause it to kill a bunch of mages, tie the mages up like a surfboard, and then Hawk would ride on top of the golem, riding on the surfboard to the gallows to enact some sort of, holy war on them. Because fuck mages, they ruin everything in Dragon Age 2. And, I'm still mad
That's
about
a debate.
it. We don't have time for that debate. But, another time, listener. But, it pissed me off. And, it changed the entire playthrough of what, might have been a very different game.
Yeah, probably would have been a very different.
I think the choice at the end would have been harder for me to make. Especially since Okato is implicated as being directly responsible, or at least helping violently that dude.
Or at least very negligent. In who he funds.
Given the fact that he, turns into a horrible demon monster at the slightest hint of trouble.
No, it was lots of hints of trouble, but he did turn into a horrible demon monster. I'm betting he knew what was going on.
So.
Which explains so much about why mages are insane in that game. Their archmage had been poisoning the well.
Yeah, but
for who knows how long.
I'm looking forward to the fresh start in Inquisition, but do you have another one, or shall we?
I honestly
buff it back to me.
I couldn't think of any more that really stuck. I mean, there were a lot of deaths that I've seen. But none that really stuck to me like that.
I think the next huge one for me, and I think this is my last big one, were pretty much any of the Black Mages and Vivi in Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, I haven't played this game, but I'm not over this one. That he's told me the story, and it's too tragic.
Well, and I ran a role-playing campaign where you played like an amalgamation of Zidane and Vivi.
Completely on accident.
It's an experiment I keep doing. It's successful.
Actually, I want to do another podcast about that at some point.
Okay. Feed my ego. Why not?
It's been so successful, and then I can get into the experiments I do with my role-playing games.
Yeah, okay.
That's a cool idea.
Maybe this week. Oh, wait, we have a shitty pay-per-view to watch.
Oh, God, it's gonna suck so much.
But, for those who haven't played the game, oh my God, do it. But the Black Mages are so innocent. They were being used as tools for war, and they don't even call it death. They say, these are people who are sentient, who have no reference of what death is. Suddenly one of their friends just stops moving and doesn't work anymore. So they say he stopped. And so they bury him because they don't want to look at him anymore, and they feel bad. And it's just this interesting take on things. And then, super double, triple spoilers, the end. The entire time you're playing through the game with Chucky Finster in a Black Mage hat. And just as sweet, just as endearing, just as cowardly, just as unsure, and you slowly build him into being less afraid. And then, in the end of the game, which is set like a couple years after the actual final boss fight and all that stuff, the actual ending, there's a big celebration, a party, and there are like 3, 4, 5 little Black Mages there, little tiny ones, so they're little kids, and Vivi's nowhere to be seen.
That's fucking tragic.
But other honorable mentions I discussed this with you. Lucretia from Final Fantasy VII is kept in kind of a fucked up state. Hal Kuja from Final Fantasy IX. Yeah. The idea behind that's kind of...
it's completely cliche. I'm over it, obviously, but Aerith that was a big one. When it happened, when I saw it, when it happened, it was big.
I was hoping to avoid this.
But I'm over it now.
No,
I know.
Yeah.
I can hear it in your soul. That's why I did it that way.
This is another red wedding for me.
Yeah.
I kept a special save file just before then, just so I could go back and watch the FMV again.
And again.
Nothing I really hated about her personality, but she just...
See, for me, if there had been an FMV file of Tifa getting stabbed...
No, yeah, and I did hate her personality, especially after I completed the game and understood everything.
basically everything is Tifa's fault.
Basically.
But that's about time.
Yeah, I don't think there was really anything else. Maybe there was one...
I mean, there's obviously a bunch more honorable mentions we could go through. In preparation for this podcast, I read up on a bunch of video games I played and deaths that happened to see if I'd forgotten anything that, would be worth an honorable mention, because obviously it didn't stick with me. And, I mean, there's been a bunch.
Video game deaths are not over? Take a look at my fucking Nuzlocke runs.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you, I've been racking my brain over this all day. I was like, man, I know there's a game that I've played recently that I was like, I remember looking down at the screen in abject horror going, how do I go on with my life?
This is why I don't play Nuzlocke.
Oh, it's good. It builds up your spirit, makes you stronger.
Oh shit, it's good.
Well, this has been fun. I hope you guys like the fun-sized Two Nerds podcast, because, as we all know, everything is better when nerds talk about it, even if it is in brief.
Fuck it, let's get